Today I'd like to continue our journey through chapter 10 of the Gospel of Matthew as we're looking at a passage that talks about the instructions of Jesus to the 12 apostles. In verse 11 of chapter 10, Jesus says, "Whatever town or village you enter, look for a worthy person in it, and stay there until you leave." And when you look at that, Jesus is very clear with his instruction. You enter the village, you look around, you look for a worthy person, somebody who is open to receiving the message, and you stay with that worthy person until you leave the village. Don't go flitting from place to place. Missionaries basically should not be looking for better accommodations. The idea of a missionary is not to live a soft life and say, well, over here, their room that they could offer me is better. The people are better cooks. They have better food. It'd be better to go over there. No. The idea is you're not to really concentrate on your accommodations where you're staying as a missionary. What you really want to do is concentrate on the message and concentrate on the people that you're sharing that message with. Food would be given to the laborer for your labor. A lot of times that would be the wage that if you labored, you would get the food. Your sustenance would be given to you. And even in the forced labor of the ancient world, the laborer received a small wage or a portion of food for him and his family for the day. So not only would you get food for yourself, the idea was, well, if you had a wife, children, the food would be provided for them as well. So that was a pretty significant offering for the laborer, that you would work hard because you would receive that food for your family, and your family could survive. You might say, well, how am I to determine whether or not a person is worthy? I'm supposed to go into this village, I'm supposed to look for a worthy person. Well, exactly how do I go about determining, who's worthy, who's not worthy? Is there a worthy test that I give here? Worth really is shown by offering hospitality to the missionaries. So the person is worthy if they come to you and say, please stay with me. I want to offer you a place to stay, some food, some nourishment, and that person would be determined to be a worthy person because they were offering something to you. Secondly, the second aspect of worth, it's a double aspect here. The second aspect would be their faith in the gospel. So again, if their response was they were open to the gospel, they were open to hearing the message, that person was indeed a worthy person. Verse 12 then says, as you enter a house, wish it peace. So you go into the house that you are going to be staying at, and you wish peace to that house. Peace is our English translation, of course, but it's not really an adequate translation. The greeting is a wish that all may be well to that person that you are greeting. Everything might be well. You might have a good life. It might be full of happiness. You might have good fortune in your life. Peace would connote all of those aspects. And so when you said to that person, peace, that was a beautiful, wonderful greeting. That was a greeting that the person took in and realized that this person is a person who wants to wish me well, a person who wants to see me thrive. And so that very significant greeting. It is a dynamic word, this word of peace. It is sent out by the speaker, and it returns to the speaker if it is unable to fulfill its meaning. So if you cannot reflect that greeting by the way you're acting, that greeting of peace then comes back to the person who is speaking the peace. So really a beautiful instruction by Jesus to send that greeting of peace to the people in the house. And then in verse 13, well, what if the house is not worthy? Because, again, you're making a human determination that there is worthiness in this house, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe there is no worthiness there. But if the house is worthy, let your peace come upon it, so that the house will become even more worthy, more filled with love through your greeting. If it is not, let your peace return to you. So peace is never something that is wasted. We speak frequently today of being a peacemaker, building peace. How do we build peace? We build peace by exactly the procedure Jesus said, to bring peace to other people, to bring that greeting of love and kindness. And many people will receive it, and peace will grow and thrive. But there are people who will not be able, for one reason or another, to receive peace, maybe due to their background, due to their historical circumstance, difficulties in their childhood, economic problems. There's all sorts of reasons why the peace may not be able to be received. And then that peace comes back to you, so you can then share that peace with others. So the greeting of peace is not just seen as a salutation, as something you just kind of throw out there casually, but it is an effective word. That peace is able to accomplish peace in the person that you're sharing it with. It's able to bring more peace. It's able to bring happiness and love and concern and kindness to that person. It is a true greeting of love. And if it finds somebody who is not receptive, then it comes back to you. And it enables you to build even more peace. And then Jesus says in verse 14, whoever will not receive you or listen to your words, go outside that house or town and shake the dust from your feet. So Jesus is very realistic in his instructions. It is not no rose-colored glasses on the part of Jesus. There are going to be people that are not going to accept you, accept your message, accept your greeting, want to receive that peace, want to receive the good news. There are going to be people like that. And there might be a significant number of people in a whole town that are like that, not just an individual home or a couple of homes, but maybe everybody in the whole town will reject you and turn their back on you. That maybe will happen. And a lot of times I think when it happens to us today, there's a certain discouragement, and we're like, gee, do I have to change the gospel? Maybe I'm not saying it the right way. Maybe if I try a different technology, maybe if I put it on Facebook or Instagram, maybe it'll be more effective, And Jesus says, no, that's going to happen. There are going to be people for various reasons who are not ready to hear the gospel at this point in their life. People who cannot accept that greeting of peace and love. It's just who they are, and they cannot accept it. And shaking the dust from your feet shows a complete separation from unbelievers. We see it in Acts chapter 13, verse 51. Paul and Barnabas are in Antioch, Pisidia. And so they shook the dust from their feet in protest against them and went to Iconium. So the idea is, they were rejected. And this is, of course, two of the greatest messengers of the gospel in the early church, Paul and Barnabas. And sometimes we feel, I'm inadequate. They're rejecting me. Well, welcome to the club. Paul and Barnabas, who were so successful in proclaiming the message of the gospel, they got rejected many a time. And so that's going to happen. That's inevitable. That's part of the deal of proclaiming and of sharing the gospel, that there is going to be rejection. But the interesting thing about the rejection is they do not respond to the rejection with violence. It's not a sense of protesting against the people, being nasty, demeaning the people in any way. You just simply shake the dust off and go to the next place. Don't dwell on the rejection. Continue to pray for the people. Continue to be faithful in proclaiming the message. Continue to be an example of a follower of Jesus. But do not respond to violence, which is really antithetical to your message, which is a message of peace.